Hey everybody, welcome back to Jordan Lee Tarot. I have been away for quite a while. I am rebuilding my photography business and it just takes a lot of time and energy, so that's where my time has been being invested at this time. But to jump right into the tarot, I have the Feminine Wisdom Oracle deck, I have the Light Seers Tarot, and then I have this really cool lyrics deck that is rock and roll songs. So there's not really a name for the deck. It's just a lyric deck that I got off of Etsy. So I will link all of that in the description box so that you have that. And without further ado, I will jump right into the cards for today and see what messages are urgently wanting to jump. Candle in the wind, fame and vulnerability, in the public eye, fleeting fame, piece of fame, insecurity, fragility, and premature endings. I want to get a clarifier for that card. That feels very important for the collective, especially the first cards that jump. Okay. So this is desire, obsession, emotional conflict, intense need, naked vulnerability, painful longing, and a fierce craving. This feels like, to jump into what this is talking about, is wanting to be seen, but yet a fear of being seen. Okay. So it's like someone who wants to be on stage with the spotlight on them in that proverbial sense, right? In everyday life, that looks different, but they're also afraid of being seen. And the minute that the spotlight starts to show on them, they kind of walk out of the spotlight and off of the stage. That's what I'm seeing. So there's someone here that is afraid to be seen. Now, the card that jumped is literally the jump card that's right behind that, talking about bold moves, joyful confidence, and the adrenaline rush. I think this is a reading for those who are dreaming of being seen and bringing their talents into the light of day. This could be someone who wants to be a tarot reader. This could be someone who really wants to be more seen, more visible in their own life, in the small ways that people want to be seen in life. Or this could be someone who wants to be on stage and wants to act and be seen and sing and dance. The gamut is going to be so varied based on your experience, but the point is, you want to be seen, you want to be acknowledged. I am a lover of like horror, sci-fi, all of the weird things, especially psychological horror. It's probably my favorite. So because it makes you think, and the movies that like stay with you and kind of mess with your mind a little bit, they're important things to watch. It's art to create awareness and internal conflict as a way to, in a safe space, move into expanding your mind, neuroplasticity, right? You ask yourself, what would I do in these situations, right? And then you kind of think about who you are, the decisions you make. It matters. It matters. So there was an episode of Fringe, which is one of my favorite shows. I feel like this show is so highly underrated. It's from like back in the early 2000s. And there was this, we'll call him a villain or a monster that they were hunting, but he was just a person and he was experimented on and he wasn't pigmented. So he was basically invisible and he was stealing other people's pigmentation to be seen. And in the very ending scene, he's in the elevator with this woman that I think he keeps trying to communicate with and talk to. And finally, she just acknowledges him and says, "Oh, I really love seeing you every day in the elevator, and I hope you have a beautiful day. It's such a beautiful day out." And he introduces himself, she introduces herself, and he pretty much, like, at the end of that, he dies because that's all he ever wanted, was to be seen, something that people take for granted all the time. And he literally biologically couldn't be seen. And so to have himself acknowledged, his very personhood acknowledged by someone, especially someone that he had a crush on, was what he needed to pass away and just be a completely, utterly happy person was just to be acknowledged. So that's what this feels like. This feels so basic. Someone is not being seen for who they are. And this feels like a deep wound. This is very sensitive and very painful. And so I want to handle this reading carefully, thoroughly, gently, because it does feel very, I mean, imagine not being acknowledged for the basic hood of who you are. That's terribly confusing as a human because, not to get too esoteric, but as we come into this physical plane from non-physical, the whole point is to be witnessed. The whole point is to see and acknowledge that we are a now physical piece of a larger whole that is getting a life experience. And you want to be acknowledged. You want to be seen. You want to share your experiences and your life stories with people. That's why I love making friends as an adult, because there's that like whole lore where you get to catch up and you're like, oh my gosh, this happened to you in your 20s. Holy shit, this happened to you in your mid 30s. And as you get older, those relationships just have more and more data that you can share, and it's wild the experiences that people have, right? They're walking talking miracles, and you're just like, holy shit, this all happened to you and you're still standing. They're like, yep. And I think that's a neat experience we get to have as adults with friends. So this feels like someone who hasn't had that, and that's a shame. We want to witness each other's lives. That's why we're here. And to not have that is very painful on a very, very raw level. The music playing in the background is from Inner Lotus Music. They're on YouTube. I love them so much. I'm going to start linking them in the description box because I highly recommend this channel. They do not have mid-roll ads, which is very important when you're getting into a meditative state or listening while you sleep. That I think, these channels with the integrity not to put those mid-roll ads, it's very important. It can be very disruptive to your sleep. I digress. What do we need to see and hear here? Patience, waiting with calmness. So it feels like someone has been waiting to be seen and acknowledged. This is someone maybe with quiet awesomeness to offer, but it hasn't really been noticed by people who just go by the surface. This person needs someone who's going to dig in deeper and truly see them at their depth. Joy, pure happiness. I love this card so much because of the little bunnies. All right, one more card here. This is a sweet reading. So I think this will be okay. She's covering her own boobs. This is the release card, setting yourself free. This is someone who has become very self-sufficient because they have had to. They have been alone. I'm talking to a lone wolf type individual here. And a lot of people who are going through spiritual awakenings, multiple spiritual awakenings, have very big purpose in their life. There are long periods of isolation, and you might have felt this way your whole life. And if you say hell yes to that, I would say you're in good company, because I've had to clear out literally everybody in my life numerous times, and it's so difficult. It's so difficult. But there's something about wanting to be seen. But I think this is speaking to the basicness of being seen as a person. But I'm also hearing that this is the basicness of showing that creation self, that person that wants to burst forth and share their creativity. This could be someone who wants to be a stand-up comedian, but they've never got to make anybody laugh, right? Imagine feeling that hole within you and you're like, this is who I really am, and I've got all this, buried deep within here, and I want to share it. I want to release it out into the world. And this kind of is reminiscent of the Judgment card, right? Where the person is just like kind of holding space and there's this energy like pulling up through them. I think it's a beautiful want to fully share who you are with the world at large, and also the people that you are surrounding yourself with, or the new friends that you are making. Makes a really big difference. Okay. To get that witness. People who really see you, see your talents. Okay. What wants to jump, Spirit? Oh, I love this card popping out. So the Six of Wands card, she's actually on the stage. This is the card of success and recognition. So this does really feel like someone who has like this skill that they're really, really good at. And they're just like, hey, everybody, check out what I can do. I'm really, really good at it. And I want to share it with you. Yay. It's overly simplistic. But again, take this as it resonates for you. Yay. All right, Six of Wands. Ace of Wands. This feels like something so internal. And if you see that, she's kind of, it looks like she's crying. I'm going to take that as she's crying. It just feels like there's so much inside that wants to burst forth out of this person. And then to follow that up with the Two of Swords card, there's like this whole, will I be accepted for who I am, right? This is someone who needs to come out of the closet with their personality self, really showcase who they are to the world without being afraid of it. And I feel like this is something that's just been so long buried. I mean, this card of obsession to come out, obsession, they've been thinking about this for a long time, right? This could be someone who literally does want to come out of the closet, right, with their sexuality. It could be something about, I've been an accountant and really I'm a painter, right? And I need to paint and I need to share this with people because my paintings have profound wisdom within them and I'm so drawn to this. And it's really about stepping into authenticity, but doing it in a very public way. So, death and rebirth, I think that this will require a complete reconstruction of who you are externally. You may already know who you are internally. That's the hardest work. If you are already aware of who you are, I'm an artist, I'm a painter, right? I'm a bisexual, whatever that is, okay? Whatever that is, coming out is going to feel like, oh, I'm so relieved to be seen in the world for who I am. Very, very important because if you are playing a role, the Sims role in the world of the accountant, and you're not actually a numbers person, you're just someone who's good with numbers, but you don't love numbers. Because there are people like that love numbers. I think it's a little weird, but to each their own, right? If you are just good at numbers and you got a good job and it works, but like you're dying inside because you're an artist who wants to paint, um, that makes a really big difference. And you're afraid to come out to the world about being an artist because there's a stigma around it. And people might think you're wishy washy, or people might look down upon you because um, because you're now an artist and not an accountant. Because an accountant is stable and secure and trustworthy, and an artist is a flippity gibbet, right? These are constructs in the world that we've put upon things. And first of all, I think it's dumb because to create is divine. We are creations of a larger piece of everything. And when we create, we tap into that creator energy. It is so delicious. It is so juicy. It is so satisfying because we're honoring that at our base, we are creators. Very important. Very important. 1331 on the clock as I looked, which I love that. So if anyone wants to look that up, 1331 as an angel number that might speak to you or offer more specific guidance. All right, Eight of Wands. Let me clarify that. I think we're coming to a point where, oh, I love that. Okay. So the Eight of Wands card is this like rapid movement change. And what I'm seeing is the Temperance card to come out like this. The Temperance is all about balance. Okay. This is about calm, structured, balanced things changing to come out with the change card. This is balanced change. This isn't manic. This isn't manic. Okay. This is steady. This is primed and ready. Luck meeting with readiness to create that kismet where you're like, wow, things happen so fast. Yes, it did. But you had been ready for it for a long time. And the opportunity finally came up and you were able to do that open mic night stand up comedian gig. And all of a sudden, you get booked for another one. And someone's asking you to open for someone really big because there was a cancellation, right? Things coming through. And you're like, oh my God, I finally get to be the comedian deep inside that I am, right? That's very exciting. And this balance is between this kind of restful, I don't want to say protection. This isn't technically protection, but it's a deep card of rest. So the Four of Swords coming after the Three of Swords is kind of this, it's heartbreak, but it's also healing from really painful situations. The kind of things that break your heart. This could be when you did try to be a comedian and you were kind of left off the stage, not in a good way, right? But the Four of Swords is sort of like replenishing and resting and getting that time to rebalance your nervous system after you had healed after the pain of the Three of the Swords. So, this balance is about, I've done the work, I'm ready, mixed with the celebration. And this to me is the opportunity. The Four of Wands card is celebration, it's gatherings of people, right? So this really does bode well to like being on a stage of some kind in front of people. This is like, woo, huzzah, we're really excited. And this is that restful, peaceful kind of internal work that you got to do to even get on stage. And the Temperance card balancing this out. This is something really cool opportunity coming for somebody that will allow you to balance out all the work you've been doing internally with allowing yourself to be seen on a stage. I mean, she's literally on a stage. So this is really beautiful. I love that people who have been honing their gift, honing their craft, are finally coming out of the closet with their talents, their gifts, and maybe it wasn't time yet. And you had been building up all this time and all this time. I mean, it could be 20 years for some people. I love to hear when people kind of have these secondary careers even after they retire. Maybe they're doing it for money, maybe they're not, but it's just their secondary passion coming out. Not to give any details, but I did a reading for an older gentleman in his 60s, and he had had a very successful career as an ER nurse, serving in this very, important way, that just being there. And I could tell by his energy, he was so calm, so steady. Like a person like you with that steadiness in an ER is absolutely vital. Like they lost a good person when you retired. But now, he had played randomly with like little band gigs here and there. And I kept hearing in his session, he needs to jam more. He needs to get out there, really put himself out there, because people need to see him doing what he's doing at his age, very specifically. He'd had a very successful career. He did these wonderful things to help in the world. And now he's getting to do this in a very different way of inspiring younger artists to keep going, inspiring people to reach for their secondary passion even after retirement. And I think that it was a beautiful reading that kind of mirrors a lot of the things here, that someone might be going into retirement and finally doing that thing that they wanted to do. Maybe it's take a writing class, maybe it's take a dancing class, but you want to be seen. You want to be out there doing something. You don't just want to dance in your own house, in your own kitchen. You want to dance in front of a group and then do some sort of public performance, recital type thing. Maybe it's piano lessons, but you want to be seen doing this thing you do. That's the important part here. That's what you want. You want the recognition. But it's important that you're recognized because there's something within that recognition that other people need to see. Inspired people inspire people. The old adage, wounded people wound other people. Um, it goes for inspiration as well. When people see you stepping into this rightful place on the stage after maybe years of burying this talent, I mean, this could be like family that doesn't even know you can sing, and then all of a sudden you're doing a karaoke night and you're joining a friend's band to sing maybe one night a month or something, and you're phenomenal. And people are like, where did that come from? I had that instance before where I was in a musical or a play. It was 10th grade in high school, the leader of the pack. And I start belting out. I was the third lead, along with two other of my good friends who were the second and the first lead. And I just started belting out these tunes. And my mom was like, I did not know she could sing like that. Like she had no idea. And I realized how much I would sing in my room, but it was like with the door closed. And she probably was, not paying attention, doing other things. And it was just a very interesting moment where I realized like she had no idea that I was really good at singing, right? This is that same thing. People who are close to you might not even know how good you can draw, how funny you are, how talented you are. And it's time for you to step up and be recognized and be seen. And maybe the most important part is to be seen by those you love, doing what you love. This could be your kids seeing you take on, you know, a couple of gigs a week, doing some other thing like a band or a stand-up comedian. I'm trying to think of other things that just like ping my brain, but this is a really beautiful experience of getting to do what you love in front of people that are either going to love you, meaning your fans, or the people that already love you, meaning friends and family. So I hope this message had value for whoever needed to hear it. I love delivering these messages. I love delivering them in organic time. I'm sorry there's more space between the readings than I would like, and it doesn't help the YouTube algorithm. I know I need to post like every other day, but that's so hard sometimes. So I let the energy speak for me, and I hope that the purest, most wonderful version of what this needed to be finds you in the moment that you need it most. So, all right, until next time. Mwah!